Hey everybody, this is a different kind of video for me, so we'll see how it goes. I have absolutely no idea where this video is going, but to give you a little bit of background, I'm setting up an overhead train platform to kind of demonstrate some Arduino stuff. And I have my HO trains. This is kind of a modern, what they call HO DC train, and this is just a super cheap one that I'm using for demonstration purposes. But I want to show a little bit about what Arduinos do. And I also have my father, who passed away, his this is an American Flyer AC S-gauge train, so it's considerably bigger than the other one next to it. And the problem is it doesn't go. And so I have had I've done a little bit of reading, but the only way to find a guide on how to repair these things seems to be to buy this $30 book, which is what I may wind up doing. But this train isn't that valuable. It's kind of more sentimental to me. So anyway, I have this really cool AC transformer because these trains are DC, but these are AC. And so you need a special transformer, and this one is from just after World War II. Made by Lionel, and basically this thing is able to take my 110 volt AC, American style AC, and put out up to 20 volts. The problem is that this thing is only made to go up to 16 volts. So that's issue number one. The second thing is that the power cords on these things are always junk. In fact, some things you repair them and you lower the value of. Pretty much everybody says if you get one of these beastly things, go ahead and change out the power cord, which isn't a tiny job. You have to take this thing apart and actually solder it to the inside in kind of an awkward spot. But I've gone ahead and done that, and so I think there's going to be a few other things I'm going to have to do to this power supply. It actually doesn't turn all the way off, and I'm not going to fiddle. Maybe it does. Yeah, no, it doesn't turn all the way off, at least on this side. It has kind of 4 buses you can use. So what we're going to do is we're going to get it set to right around 15 volts so that when we start testing things, we don't blow the train out. So we're going to back that back to, yeah, good enough. So looking at the train, what happens is when I put it on the track, basically the little light in here turns on and I hear a little bit of a buzzing noise. Now, the research I've done says that, when you have a DC train like this, it's nice and easy. All you do is you flip the current, you flip the polarity of your DC around, and the train will start going the opposite direction. On an AC train, because your electricity is already going back and forth, they've got to do some trickery. And so there's some kind of, I'm not a train guy. I don't know anything about trains, which is why I'm taking you on this journey with me. But there's some kind of, I'm just going to jokingly call it a transmission that can basically be in neutral, forward, and reverse. And I think that actually activates by turning the power on and off. But I'm not 100% sure because I've never seen one before. So first thing I'm doing, and I haven't pre-done any of these tests because I wanted to do this live and maybe have you guys help me figure this out. But basically when I flip the thing over, I can see that all of these wheels here don't look like they are made to conduct electricity. They could be, but I don't see anything in there that makes me think that they're for conducting electricity, where the engine actually has silverish wheels that conduct the electricity. There's a screw here that definitely does not look original because everything else is Phillips. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and change the camera view because I don't think you guys really need to see the transformer much. So I'm going to try to drop the camera down so you guys can have a better view. First thing I want to do is just see what happens if we connect some electricity to the wheels. Now, when you look at this, what I'm noticing is, and you may have a hard time seeing the back set, but we have kind of a brass set on this side and a brass set on this side, and that would make sense because each track is putting out one of the legs of the AC. And so the first thing I kind of want to know is, are these things conducting? Let's see here. So I'm going to grab the fluke meter. So this one's a little scratched up, and I'm going to grab the fluke meter here. Let me see if I can get that somewhere where you can see it. And so, okay, so I'm not getting, now I could probably scratch the wheel, but right now I'm not getting any kind of, I'm not getting any kind of resistance through there. It's just, it's reading open. And same here. These two aren't touching each other. So I'm not getting any kind of resistance. I'm getting infinite resistance, I guess you'd say. Now, looking at this, the way this works, I'm going to try to get some good light there. The way this works is that these wheels are grabbing electricity from the track, and they're sending it to the axle. And then the axle is somehow getting it inside of this coal car. So that appears to be a problem. Now, the coating is worn off enough here that I don't really think that there's a lot of issues. So but the copper itself looks pretty good on both sides. So let's fire up the transformer and make sure my wires aren't touching. We're gonna fire up the transformer, and I'm on 14.6. That's good. And so I'm just gonna touch down here to these copper connectors. Okay, so I get a buzz, and I can see from my side, you probably can't see it, but the little light lights up over here, and I'm getting the same buzz that I was getting on the track, which means that the electricity is at least making it to these copper contacts, but probably not very well. The fact that I'm getting buzzing in here, now I don't know what's in here, and so I think that there's probably, my guess is maybe that transmission type thing is in here. I don't know. So I don't really think we have much of a choice but to take the thing apart. So let me start with that. So the motor is able to turn the wheels. You can see that. So there's nothing like locked up on this side. I'm afraid to do too much, but that's a good sign. Like I don't feel, there's a little bit of a tough spot there, but I think that's where it's at on its rotation. But it is able to rotate the wheels, so that's a good sign. Okay, so I ran and grabbed some of these little IKEA containers and a magnetic parts bin. I'll stick this one here. So there's wires here that I don't want to get into disconnecting at the moment, but it looks like there's at least 4 screws on the outside, so we're going to try to take this thing apart. Now, I can't stress enough that I have no idea what I'm doing. But basically, I'll talk to you while I'm doing this. We don't need to speed up. This is going to be kind of informal. The deal with these trains is this is from the 50s, and they're not very expensive, at least used. These trains are, you can find this exact one used in untested, which I'm guessing means basically unworking condition, for about $35. The problem is that if you want to buy a new engine, like there might be some $150 ones laying around, but like when I go on train websites and stuff, they're $600. They're $550 to $600 for this engine, or for not this engine, but like a modern day S gauge engine, which is way more than I'm going to put into this little demonstration here. So I don't really know what to do about that. And then, like I said, the book is $30 on how to fix this thing. But I'm hoping that between you and me, we can kind of figure this out and maybe avoid having to buy the book up front. So, okay, there's a screw missing back there. Interesting. So I don't know what's going to happen when I try to lift this off. There is one more screw here, but that looks like it's made to put down a part. So, oh, nice. Okay. So, these contacts look good. Let me let you see it, what I'm seeing here. I don't know what this thing is, but this is the thing that's buzzing. And I'm guessing that it's that little transmission. Let me see if I can get this even lower. I'll have to slide you to the side. So, if you look at this thing closely, there's a couple little contacts right in here that I'm guessing could be the problem. Now let's see what we can do. So that AC is obviously hitting here and here. There's no polarity. The cord isn't polarized or anything like that, so we're pretty safe touching it either way. Let's put this upside down. We'll lean it up against the meter. And then let's just see what these little contacts are doing. Now this soldering here is so bad. I mean, judging by the way the power supply was built and stuff like that, I'm guessing that this thing has been repaired before. So let's fire up the AC again. And let's see if those contacts jump. Ooh, I jumped. Okay, so I hear a little click. Probably shouldn't have that touch the frame. Let me make sure these wires are together. Okay, so every once in a while the contact clicks. Now I don't see the motor trying to turn at all. So that's pretty interesting. I think I'm gonna have to do some research and I'll come back to you. All right, so let me give you a good view of this. There's this little thing here, and I don't know if you can see it. There's two contacts on top of it. You can kind of see them curling up right here. There's two little brass contacts, and then over here is something that rotates. There's a little ka-chunk right here that rotates around, and now this thing will, I believe, from the sounds that it's made, I'm trying to be gentle here. It's not cooperating. From the sounds I've heard this thing made, I think this thing is going to activate. Okay, so my contacts, it seems pretty intermittent. Sometimes you get a buzz. Now, I think the way it works is the power has to get turned off and it has to be de-energized in order for it to change from forward to reverse. But you get the occasional ka-chunk, but it basically just sits there and buzzes, and I'm not 100% sure that it's sending any power to the motor, or if it is, minimal power to the motor. So I guess what we could do is check over there at those contacts. Okay, so what I've done now is I've taken the meter that I was using to measure what was coming out of the transformer, and I'm bringing it over here to check the engine and just see if it looks like it's getting any kind of power at all. And so I'm going to turn that transformer back on, make sure I'm not shorting anything. All right. Now, the fact that the light lit up on the front made me think it's at least sending some power there, but we're going to see. Okay, so I'm seeing nothing. Okay, so I got a little bit more information. This thing is the reversing unit, and it has a little switch down here that's just was extremely hard to move. I moved it once or twice, and it's a little bit better. People told me to spray some electronic cleaner in this unit, and so I'm going to do that. And I've already been able to move. I've already been able to move the that switch a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and shoot that too. Now they said something about rotating something, and so I'm gonna have to figure out what that is that I'm supposed to rotate and what I can rotate. I can already tell this is moving a lot. Okay, there's some contacts down there that move that I wasn't able to move that stuff before. This is okay. So this seems like this little thing here is like a lockout, which I've heard people use that term. It's so one way or another. Yeah, this stops the thing from moving. Okay, you can see. Okay, so this little unit here rotates. So every time I push this button, this little drum is rotating around, and it seems to be moving better. And so I would imagine that these contacts here are probably worn out, if not, and bent and all that stuff. So, and there's some black spots. I don't know if those black spots are supposed to be on the thing or not, but let's hit it again. Let's see what happens if we hit it again. Okay, so we still have lights. Okay, so that unit is rotating. Every time I hit this, this unit here is rotating now, which it wasn't doing before. It would do it intermittently before, but now, I say that, no, yeah. Okay, so it's definitely rotating. So progress there, because that was intermittent in the past. So now the question is, so I'm looking at it, and it appears that basically these white wires here are attached, or at least one of them is attached to that contact. So this wire here is attached to the top of the contact, and then this other wire over here is attached to the bottom. And oh, there's more. Okay. So my gut says the contacts are bad, and maybe this needs to be replaced or rebuilt. We'll see. Now I'm a little hesitant to just stick voltage there to the motor, because I don't really know what connects to what yet. But I think we're making a little bit of progress. So I'm getting a little bit of understanding of how this thing works, and I have the meter hooked to the motor. And basically what I've been doing is spraying some cleaner down here and scrubbing a little bit. And there's 3 of these contacts. 2 of them you can see up top here. We've got 1 and 2. And basically what's going on is there are little, there are black spots and copper spots on this little tube thing here. This little barrel of copper. And so what I'm trying to do is to get them to make good contact, and depending on which 2 of those 3 contacts, there's a third one down here that you can't see because it's buried under this thing, but depending on which 2 of those are connected determines which direction the motor should turn. So I'm sitting here touching, and I'm getting little bits of electricity, like the meter, you can kind of see it flipping around there. But I think with just a little bit more tweaking of these brushes and just getting them, I don't know if they're called brushes, I'm calling them contacts. I think I'm super close to actually getting this thing to turn over. So let's try. Okay. So this thing now is flipping a lot more freely. So let me make sure there's nothing binding over here on these wheels. It's leaning up against the meter, so I'm gonna get that out of the way of the cord. All right, I'm gonna keep the power on there for a second, see what happens. Hold on, I gotta pull this out. This is amazing. There we go. This thing hasn't fired up in like 40 years. Okay, you ready? Here we go. See, it's not gonna work. Watch. Oh, we're getting it. Come on, we got it. Yes. Now, see, you can see every time I turn this off, the wheels are going different directions. I don't know if you can see. I guess I could lay it on its side. On something here. Okay. So nothing there. Going that direction. Now it's going the other direction. So it seems like one click locks it, and then the next click is changing directions. Look at that. Now it should reverse when I touch it twice. It's reversed. Hey, we fixed the train. This is awesome. Thank you for watching. Thank you people at Reddit who talked me through it. You guys are awesome. Thanks.